Hello and welcome back to Will a Wonderful World. On the last episode we found Rocky. So you know, another person to talk to. We also got, I believe, a story segment as well as a section Z as a grade instead of an S or an A. But we haven't got an explanation on what that was. But we did get an explanation that apparently events from timelines can obviously, like branching timelines, can affect things. So with that, obviously, we've got something to follow the lead on. Bachelor's pad, keep out, and trouble in the middle of the summer. So let's go. Apparently I'd already read this. Yes, I think either way. Let's go. Immediately just changing one thing. Still bad and bad. Oop. Just put the pink ones on top. Take out all the ones for Lai Wen. I lay on the roof, staring at the grey sky. I was counting the clouds. To go, not to go. To go, not to go. I didn't know how many I counted before I fell asleep. I didn't wake up until it was already dark. There was a new text message on my phone. The classroom was full today. You should have been there to see how I shut those people up for bad-mouthing you. Oh, and at the end of the class, Mr. Wen tore up everyone's sketches. This guy. I probably should have gone to class. What should I do about the class the day after tomorrow? Jimmy finally came back. His gaming console was lying in the middle of the spilled water on the island at the middle of the dark lake. He lost it. How dare you break my console? How dare you how dare you not wash your clothes for so long? That's none of your business. Oh, but it is, and it's not even the first time. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the photos you secretly took. I'm the one who posted them. Thanks, Rocky, but you're just causing hassle for other people as well as this is weird. What did you just say? You have a crush on Lai Wen, right? You even stalked her. You're such a psycho and a loser. If you really like her, why didn't you just tell her already? None of your business. Jimmy tossed his console away and lunged at me. We were wrestling and rolling around in dirty water until the RA pulled us apart. He made it clear that if we hadn't already graduated, he would have made sure that we suffered at the most severe consequences. That night, Jimmy and I went to the grill near the school and ate an unhealthy amount of chicken wings. This was the end of a high school era. I would miss it. Okay, Range. Oh well. Cool. Let's move the yellows over to move Rocky's over to because that's obviously going to change no matter what. The yogurt tasted stranger than usual. Had it gone bad, maybe? Well, that would actually be great for me. I could just go and hide in the infirmary with a tummy ache. Nice, a tummy ache and a stomach ache as my excuse. With such a legitimate reason, nobody should be able to say anything else about me. I held my breath and drank the whole cup. That's brave. Our classroom was on the way to the infirmary. I couldn't help myself, so I snuck up to the back door and tried to peek inside through the small glass window. They were doing sketch practices today. Mr. Wen was standing with his back towards me, looking at Rocky's sketch. What was Rocky drawing that Mr. Wen was watching so closely? I stood up on my toes. He suddenly turned around. Thank God I crouched down just in time. However, the sudden movement must have caused my stomach to start hurting. It felt like it was such a bad cramp. Fortunately, it wasn't too bad. I finally got to the infirmary with a hand pressed against my stomach. I stayed there until the end of school. Jimmy had always half-baked everything he had ever never followed through with anything. He would never learn if I didn't teach him the lesson this time. Plus, I really couldn't stand this any longer. His dirty clothes and the mushrooms had spilled on the floor, with the smelly water flooding through the room. Here came the star of the show. Jimmy just walked in. He let out a large grunt of surprise and immediately walked over to his bed and picked up his precious game console. He had even stepped over a few mushrooms. You win. Jimmy recognized my anger and started cleaning the room without a word. As long as he'd learned his lesson. Okay, immediately an S for Rocky. Thanks, thank you, Rocky, for being the easiest person so far. Then again, you have not been in a life-threatening situation. What happens if we take all yours out? Because I've not tried that yet. Just a bad end. Okay. Cool. It was hot today. Cool. Then we just swap those over. Problem solved. Nope. Oh, what if I just... Because Rocky only needs one, apparently. The yogurt tasted kind of strange. Or stranger than usual, I should say. Well, if it had gone bad, that would actually be great for me, as I can go and hide in the infirmary with a stomachache as my excuse. Which is a legitimate reason nobody could say anything else about me. I held my breath and drank the whole cup. The art classroom was on the way to the infirmary. I couldn't help myself, so I snuck in the back door and took a peek inside through a small glass window. Rocky was sound asleep, drooling with his mouth open. That's the Rocky that I'm aware of. But I mean, like, there's two different sides to him. The side that watches over Jimmy, and the side that just basically just makes him look like a bully in school. Jing was focused on Mr. Wen with an insane. Jing was so focused, Mr. Wen would be insane to tear up a sketch this time. Mr. Wen was standing with his back towards me and looking at Jing's sketchbook. He must have liked what he was looking at. He must have liked it to be looking at it so closely. I stood on my toes and tried to see a sketch for myself, but he suddenly turned around. Thank God I crouched down in time, however, the sudden movement caused my stomach to start hurting. It felt like it was a bad cramp. And it was getting worse and worse. I leaned against the door and crumpled. There we go. That's nice. Cool. Huh? Why is it? Oh, why is yours whited out? That's interesting, I guess. Because like no one else's is. Is that all you? I'm concerned. Street Fight and the final goodbye. Okay, I'm concerned by that, so I'm obviously going to pick yours. Final goodbye. I sat in the exam room of the hospital. My fingers were tapping my knees. Maybe it was because of my past experiences, but anytime I had to deal with the hospital, I'd always worry about the worst outcome. After a long while, the doctor finally came in. He closed the door and sat down in front of me. My hands clenched into fists. He opened the test results and read them through them. He looked up from the document and stared at me. What's your relationship with her? The diagnosis is stomach cancer. Is this in the past? Is this because I'm assuming this is either going to be Lai Wen in the far future, or this is in the past before we even knew about him. I was stunned. It really was the worst outcome. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't really remember what the doctor had said afterwards. He took the test results and went back to the patient's room. I looked at her. She still sound asleep. I wondered if she'd would just sleep. I wonder if she'd just keep sleeping like this. Maybe she would never wake up again. Yang Ying had told me her story. She'd been all alone with no family for a long time, just like me. That sounds like Lai Wen. And now with this diagnosis, she would have to deal with this all by herself. I could see her bright eyes looking into mine with a flicker, into mine in the flickering candle lights. I crumpled the test results in my hand. When's our end? So we don't even get to know who. Your stomach cancer. Changing the place of who. I sat on the steps of the hospital stunned. I thought the doctor was going to tell me about her condition, but he had given me the test results from my previous hospital stay. About a month ago, I had been in a fight with someone. I had I had been a little rusty, but too hot-headed, and one of my ribs was broken. I had to ask for sick leave from the school because I had to stay in the hospital for a while. The doctor was very attentive. After I recovered, he suggested I get a full physical. I realized that I hadn't had a physical for a long time, so I thought I might as well get one. Little did I know that I would be getting such a surprise. Pardon me, that I would be getting such a surprise. It had gone dark outside now. I picked up the test results, I got up, and went back to the patient's room. The nurse must have been taking her temperature, as I saw Lai Wen's hand hanging onto the sheet. Her collar was messed up. So it is Lai Wen. Okay, then. This is really I'm concerned for numerous reasons now. One of them, no matter what, apparently getting cancer in the stomach. The other is because of... I mean... If she graduated, fair enough, I guess. But she hasn't currently. So that's where I'm concerned. I'm going to keep hopping on about this because, you know. Yeah. I carefully tucked her hand under the sheet, trying not to wake her up. She seemed to be dreaming. She suddenly turned to face the side and mumbled something. Her face was only inches away from mine. Why are you so close? Back off, man. I know you've got good intentions, but this is creepy. I couldn't move for a second, and I remembered what happened the day I fainted in my apartment. Even though my heart had stopped, and I hadn't been breathing, I had been conscious. I felt someone pressing at my chest. I felt someone yelling my name. How would... She didn't know your name, right? I felt someone, and I knew it was her, and I couldn't move at all. No, actually I could. But I was thinking, perhaps I could just let go. And all of this would be over. However, when I heard her crying, my heart suddenly bounced. I opened my eyes with all the strength I had, and saw her sobbing uncontrollably. Why would she care so much about someone whom she barely knew? Why? and I suddenly realized the reason why I'd cared about her so much. We were just like each other. Here for her. Nothing. Okay. There's only two. The final goodbye. I'm still confused about why Rocky's is. Rocky only has one. Okay. And a street fight for Jimmy. In the largest arcade on Mongkok. Time Reversal Cup, the Prince of Fighters, 97 Nostalgia Tournament. Okay, Jimmy, you got this. A giant. Oh, is this clickable? I don't think it is. No, it's not. The Time Reversal Cup had been the biggest tournament for classic fighting games in Hong Kong for a few years, and you got this. You got this, Jimmy. It had also been an important source of income from my post-college independent life. Professional gamer, okay. After graduating college last year, I moved out from my parents' house and rented a 30 square meter studio as my standalone bathroom. With a standalone bathroom, not as your standalone bathroom. I never knew that rent could be so expensive. Yeah, it is. I never understood why people would want to buy stuff on sale. I never realized that part-time jobs barely paid anything. I mean, you would if you ever had one. Not until I lost financial support from my father and my mother did I begin to appreciate the challenge of life. Therefore, I must win the tournament. The prize money for winning the championship would be enough to cover my expenses for 3 months. I had arrived not too long ago and I'd been testing my machine. People were beginning to gather around, many of whom kept taking pictures of with their phones. As the two-time defending champion, I had been placed directly in the semi-finals. Okay then, so as the champion you just automatically get to skip to the end? So I was expecting a little attention. However, today I was feeling very suspicious about one of these people. I was about to go and hide in the bathroom for a little while before the match. Suddenly a wave of excitement washed over the crowd. A small kid just walked up the machine opposite mine. He was in a school uniform wearing a pair of glasses, and his hair was parted on the left side. I'm wondering if this would be Park, because Park is the youngest character, well, the youngest human character that we have. Not sure, but that would be interesting if it was. The staff thought we didn't know each other, but we started making introductions. This is the primary school killer. You must have heard of him. He has no more rivals left in the Tsim Sha Tsui area. I'm assuming, again, sorry for pronunciations issues. Last week he challenged the entire North Key Arcade and nobody dared even say a word. I never thought he would be my opponent today. I silently cursed all the gods and goddesses in my head. And then the punk kid held his thumbs down and made a face at me. The crowd booed loudly. The being went right in my head, along with the history of our rivalry. Now, watch out, you punk. Big Brother is going to teach you a lesson for the sake of your parents. So your siblings. Let me show you how to be polite and respectful to your senior. As he does an obscene. Mayugami and his Konosagi. 2 games out of 3. In all honesty, our raw skill were mostly at the same level. But every time I played this kid, he would always be able to get into my head and mess of my inputs. I would be thinking of a punch but press a kick. Well, that's the thing. Don't press. Don't press. Then you just get beaten up. Don't think. Do instinct. I was trashed in the first game. I tried my damn best to win the second game. Here came the deciding game. Well, unfortunately, don't think you're gonna win this one, and you need our help. The crowd had become wild. Time to go to hell, you little punk. Hell. Stop being obsessed. This is why you lose. Hell. At this point, both of our HP gauges were alarmingly low. Our special moves were both fully charged and ready to go as well. First person to fire usually loses. If either one of us made a mistake right now, the other would immediately land a combo and finish the game. I slightly wiggled my sweaty right hand and feigned a retreat. The punk kid took the bait. His punch whiffed. Now's my chance. I commanded Yogami to jump behind him, ready to unleash the final combo. He's expecting it though. Jishiki Yori, right? 2B, 5A, 127 Shiki Aki Hana 1, 100 Shiki Aki Hana 2. After 2 consecutive Aki Hana, my opponent had just been thrown into midair. It was finally time to end this game with a desperation move. That's not good. Retreat. Joystick. Left diagonally downwards to the right. Down. Diagonally downwards to the left. Back. Joystick. Left. Diagonally downwards to the left. Down. Diagonally downwards to the right. And then right. So, okay, so two sweeping motions really. Hard punch C. Ghostly purple flames appeared in Yogami's hand. Light pillars were bursting from the ground one after another. Desperation move. 108 Shikiyo Sakazuki. Oh crap. That was the wrong move. Yep. It was an amazing move that could stun the opponent, but only drawback is that it stuns you for longer. It was also slow. Konosagi quickly attacked away from the pillars, nullifying my attack. Oh crap. The punk kid smiled behind his glasses. Konosagi jumped on top of me and hit me right in the face. I was still in recovery from the previous move, and I couldn't defend myself. Konosagi then kicked me into the air. Raging fire erupted from his right hand and held it high. It then turned into a devouring firebomb, which, while I was still staring in shock, it blew Yogami into the sky. KO. As Yogami flew flying upwards onto the screen, my heart was sinking in all the way into the ground. I lost my prize gun. I had to borrow money from my father to cover the rent this month. He would once again try to persuade me to go and work at his company. My mother would then try and set me up with a blind date, forcing me to meet people who I had absolutely no interest in. Do you still have an interest in Lai Wen after graduating, or have you grown out of it? Yet, I would have to pretend to smile the whole time. No. My dear goddess of fortune, please take me away from here. Jimmy. I do like the music that is chosen. Hard Punch C, you go first. Hey, Yugami only threw a hard punch. Konosagi jumped backwards and casually dodged the attack. Wait, where was my desperation move? I froze. The answers froze. Even the audience froze. I completely panicked. I couldn't even remember what to do anymore. And I just kept mashing the joystick and buttons. The punk kid smiled behind his glasses. While I was totally disoriented, Konosagi jumped to the air and hit me in the face. Yep, and he does the same move. KO. Into the ground. I lost my prize money. Yep. We try. Let's see. Yugami stepped forward. High into the air and slammed Konosagi onto the ground. Special move, 127. Shiki Aoi Hana 3. Oh crap, this was the wrong move. Once the opponent was knocked onto the ground, the combo was terminated. But ending the combo with a special move was not powerful enough to KO him. I quickly readjusted the joystick, ready to follow up with a Yomi Barai to hinder his movement from a distance. However, my momentary hesitation had already decided the result of this game. Oh crap. Yep. While I was still moving the joystick in preparation for the next move, I was unable to defend myself. Konosaki jumped and hit me in the face. Enraging fire. Cool. So, KO. Yep. Okay, so C has to stay at the same place, and it's just a matter of swapping the joysticks around. Yomi's hand morphed into a blur. He grabbed Konosagi in the air and slammed him onto the ground. His attacks, fueled with every last drop of his power, washed over his opponent like an unstoppable waterfall. Konosagi couldn't even hold his posture anymore. Desperation move. Kin 1211 Shiki Yo Otome. KO. Yes. 3 months of expenses. See how it's done, you little punk? After the ceremony, I was about to duck out the arcade quietly when the punk kid suddenly blocked my way. What? You're looking for a real fight now? Don't you know my fame of beating up both a senior home and kindergartens on the same day? What? Don't you know my fame of beating up both a senior home? Oh, kidding. I don't know who's saying this. I'm pretty sure it's Jimmy, but that's not something you want to brag about. I quietly thought to myself, okay, good. Congratulations, mister. I brought you this newspaper as a special gift to you. I took the newspaper. It was some random tabloid. Cover page, headline. Disciple, Hong Kong youth, okay. Damn. This suddenly went from a competitive game to a yikes subject. What the hell was this? 7 months ago, I had beaten up a little punk primary school killer pretty badly in another casual tournament. Then a few days later, an article became circulating on the internet about me taking off my pants in the street and mooning at the little kids. There were even pictures to go with it. Yet, whether you judged it by the shape or by percentage of the fat body or the body fat, that was not my butt in the picture. And the funny thing was, when I tried to remove the censor box from the picture through some technical magic, I realized that the kid in the picture was exactly this little punk. When had I ever taken a picture with him? Besides, what kind of twisted mind would make up such a gross and embarrassing idea in the first place? Not to mention, actually going through the trouble of faking a picture. Afterwards, I had to hack a dozen websites to delete all of the related articles. And now you had that printed on paper? I don't know who is more despicable in this whole ordeal. In any case, the more despicable the story was, the faster it travelled. People would always believe this kind of garbage. People in the arcade were staring at me. I knew they had not just come here for the tournament today. What? Did you expect me to tear this paper into pieces? And make a scene? Screw you, you little punk. I stuffed the paper into a bag with my prize money and walked out of the arcade. It was drizzling outside. Life is Good. Life is Good was playing in my headphones. Okay, so it's a song. I decided not to take a cab and just walk back to my apartment. I went with a few people, but nobody gave me any trouble or even a second look. Yeah, why bother myself with other people's opinions? It was my life, the one I had always wanted. Okay, I'm confused by all this. And there's still one I'm missing. Which one would it be? Oh, I know what it would be. It would be moving the C around with the other two in the... Yeah. And retry. So this one? Yep, there we go. That should be it. Any person away with the ground blasted towards Kanasagi. Special move, 180. Yep. Wrong move. Still midair, mistakenly launched a shockwave to crawl along the ground. The wave went right below Kanasagi and completely missed him. Before the attack dispersed, Kanasagi quickly attacked and dashed towards me. I hesitantly adjusted my joystick, trying to change it into a Kai Hanai to deter his aggression. However, my momentary hesitation already resulted in the game. Cool. The one kid in Smartband is my moves were too slow to stop my opponent, and he already left in the air and kicked him in the face. Cool. That should be all of it now. And I'll also be probably where I call it there, though. So yeah, thank you for stopping by, and hopefully you had fun. With that, goodbye.